Hi, everybody. Welcome to Dive Deep. I'm Shelby Cornett. I'm the ministry assistant at Cambridge City Christian Church, and I'm with Danny, the lead pastor.
Hey, Shelby, how are you?
Hi.
Doing okay?
I am so tired, but I'm good.
One of those days.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm a little tired too.
Yeah.
So
So we're dragging.
we'll try to do our best though
We'll stay excited.
That's right. Yeah, we should have drank some caffeine before we started.
I did, and it didn't.
Oh, it didn't work, huh?
I've been drinking Dr. Pepper.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's got some caffeine.
Yeah, not enough.
Mm-hmm.
So this week we continued relational vampires,
Mm-hmm.
and we talked about needy people.
Needy people. Yeah, yeah.
Who, when I was thinking about it, I was like, there's a lot of needy people I know.
Of course, you're not a needy person, right?
No.
Yeah, so I hope nobody came from this message
What's that
Sunday.
word that I am? Legalistic.
You've got that like look in your eye, like, yeah, I'm legalistic. Like that's something to be proud of or
I know.
something. Yeah. Yeah. Just for the record, that is not something to be proud of.
No, it's not a good thing. But I think everybody is a little.
Well, yeah. Some are a little more outward with it than others. But
Yeah.
So yeah, the temptation is to think that everybody else but yourself is needy. But the fact is we're all needy in some
Yeah.
way.
I know I am.
Yep.
So with this sermon, instead of kind of like just writing a bunch of questions,
Mm-hmm.
I wrote my thoughts to see what you thought about it. And then there's a couple little questions thrown in
Okay.
there.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes when I think of needy people, I just think of people who ask a lot of favors rather than need something
Okay.
from. Does that make sense?
Yeah, they just want things from you.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I thought sometimes I myself help needy people because I know if I don't help them, somebody else's life is going to be more difficult.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like
Okay.
they're going to go to someone else or
Okay. So you might as well just take care of it yourself, kind of a thing.
yes, instead of putting it on someone else.
Okay.
And then I think, well, I don't know that that's really the right way to look at it.
Well, it's definitely not the best attitude, right? If you're just doing it to alleviate somebody else's
Right. Because then I'm not doing it to help the person who
needs
needs
the help. Right.
but then sometimes I also think, do they really need?
Mm-hmm.
And then that makes me feel bad too. Another kind of legalistic type thing, right?
Well, it's funny, it's funny you bring that up. So I notice this a lot when I do sermons, like God leads me and I preach the sermon and then he tests me on it.
Mm-hmm.
So last night, my wife and I, we had gone to Walmart. Adrienne and I had gone to Walmart to get stuff for Operation Christmas Child. Okay. So we were walking around and she had gone to get some other stuff and I had gone over into another section. And as I'm there, this guy walks up to me and he tells me a long story. And Adriana says, I don't know what it is, but Adriana says I must be like, when people need something, I'm just attract people. Like
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. Maybe they think I'm
You're a target.
approachable or something. I don't know what it is. But a guy comes up and starts talking to me and tells me about how they needed gas money and stuff like that. And we talked for a few minutes and then I gave him some money. And I remember walking away thinking to myself, okay, God, here's your testing me to see what I'm going to do with somebody who's in need. Honestly, I felt like I handled it well. I was
Yeah.
I was kind of happy with myself because that's not always the case, but I felt like, you know what, this is what God was telling me this week. And,
Yeah.
but it's hard sometimes. I know Sunday we talked about there's perceived needs versus actual needs.
Yes.
That's what gets hard because somebody will come up and say, hey, I need this, when really it's something they perceive that they need, not something that they actually need. And that's where it gets tough because you have to spend time. And I know in our men's group Monday night we were talking about this, and a good point was brought up that maybe the problem isn't so much giving people our resources, it's giving people our time. Because if you're going to meet an actual need, you have to actually spend time getting to know
Right.
what that need is, and it takes work. So it's just easier to just give a few dollars and send someone on their way, or help somebody superficially so that it's out from hanging. It's not hanging over you.
Right.
We really got to spend time. So
I also had, I I wrote down all these thoughts I have that are just like bad thoughts I have
Mm-hmm.
when someone.
Well, let's see if we can straighten you out.
So sometimes I think if I don't help them, maybe they'll learn their lesson.
Okay. So
But
would
then-
you but my question for that, see, and again, Jesus talks over and over about this throughout his ministry about motive. So what's the motive behind that statement?
I want them to fix it. I want them to.
But is it because you are kind of vengeful about it, or are you
Probably
Yeah.
a little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, depending on the situation, but
So the question is, are you really wanting them to learn or are you wanting them to learn?
right,
There's a difference.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah. Obviously, Jesus would want us to really learn. And that's where it comes back to the time thing, spending time with them to get to know what's going on.
Yeah.
So that you can actually meet a real need, not just a perceived one.
Yeah. And that's kind of like, what if someone needs something that or what if I think they need something different than what they're saying, but I can't give that to them?
Yeah. And sometimes, and we talked about that too. And I talked about that in the message too, that we can't always meet people's needs.
Like, I could give them a recommendation,
Yeah.
but then sometimes that's bad too if they think they need something else.
Yeah.
Just, there's a lot of thought in these situations.
Yeah, there is. It's the Sermon Sunday. I told several people I felt like because we had a guest speaker that shared with us about missions and stuff that I couldn't like go in depth with it as much as maybe I would normally do because of time. But yeah, there's a lot to this. You getting to know somebody, trying to perceive it. One of the things that we talked about was just coming to grips with the idea that we can't fix every situation. I shared the story of the prodigal son and how his father didn't go and rescue him. That's hard, especially if it's like one of your kids or
Right.
a family member that you care a lot about, where you know that sometimes maybe the best thing to do isn't to rescue them because sometimes they have to learn.
They
from
need to
the
figure it out
consequences.
themselves.
Yeah. Yeah. That's hard though.
It is.
Yeah.
And then the last thing was like, I need to make sure I have the resources to help people. Like, I need to make sure I'm in a place where I can help, whether it be money or I'm rested or my mental health. And I struggle to say no to people, even when I probably should, because I'm not in a good place to help.
Well, Sunday I said something about saying no enough so that you can say yes more. More often. Yeah, sometimes we do have to say no.
And then
That's the way it is.
when people say no, and I witness someone say no, whether it be something at the church or something I asked them to do, whatever, and they say no, I just can't. I'm like, good for you. You know, like obviously we want help, or
Yeah.
I want help, whatever.
That's funny you say that because my reaction's different. My reaction's like, oh, why aren't they helping or blah, blah, blah. And
Yeah.
that's not right either because there's a lot of times there's perfectly good reasons why they're not helping. So
Not that I'm saying good for you for not helping the church.
no, I get what you're saying.
Just
that
good
they're
for you
able
for not
to say no.
overwhelming yourself.
Yes,
Yeah.
the ability to say no.
That's so hard.
yeah.
Like right now, I know I've talked to you about just being overwhelmed all the time. So then
Yeah. Sometimes we have
saying
to say
no is
Yeah, because by saying
Good
no, it
thing
opens up
sometimes.
some space, hopefully, to fill yourself up too. So then you're able to then fill other people's lives.
it's like you need to recharge your battery.
Yeah, you can't give anything away when you're dead yourself, right? Yeah.
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 Yeah,
Yep.
that's all I had.
Yep. Yep.
Do you have anything else from this week?
No, I mean, I think we covered it. We summarized my sermon kind of this Sunday pretty well, I
Yeah.
think. We'll wrap up. We have one more sermon next Sunday. We'll talk about hypocritical people and how do we...
I'm not that either.
No, none of us are. But how do you deal with those relational vampires, the hypocritical people? And then we'll wrap it up, and then we will have a service for Thanksgiving, which, by the way, if you watch our services online, we will not have an online service on November the 28th, I believe it is.
21st.
21st. So we will be putting something on, like a short video, just talking a little bit about Thanksgiving, but we will not be live streaming that morning. So just an FYI. And then we start a Christmas series on the 28th.
I'm so excited.
Getting there.
I'm ready. Bring on the snow.
Bring on the snow. Well, all right.
I'm the only
We'll
one in
just
the room
pretend
who
like
feels that way.
We'll just pretend like you didn't say that.
All right. So we'll see you next week. We'll talk about hypocritical people.
Hypocritical people.
And
Yep.
then the next week after that, we'll
Thanksgiving.
still do something. We'll talk about
Yeah.
Thanksgiving.
Yeah, we'll talk about Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
You know.
So we'll see you next week.